All right, so today we're talking about the applications of systems of equations. Uh, like I've kind of told my class here, because this is live during period 3, if you don't want to be on this, there's always going to be a Q&A after. I'm going to go down through some of the steps and the processes for each problem, and then we're going to do quite a bit of practice the next day, so we don't necessarily have to worry too much. This first problem should be a little bit more familiar to you in the way that it's presented. It says the perimeter of a rectangle is 34 inches. If the length is 2 inches more than twice the width, find the length and the width of the rectangle. So one of the things that we want to look at is, let's draw a rectangle, okay? And then let's look at some of the terminology that it gives us. So here's my rectangle. It wants us to find length and width. I think that's important that we know what we're looking for. It tells us that the perimeter is 34 inches. And if you remember perimeter, okay, perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And then it also says that the length is 2 inches more than twice the width. So if you look at some of the things that I've written up there, is means equals, more means adding, and twice the width means that we're going to multiply. So we've got our length equal to 2 more than twice the width. Yeah. So there you go. All right. So now that we have this, I can actually take this length and plug it into my equation for my L. And then I also have this P is 34 that I know. I can plug that into my equation as well and solve for my W. So 34 is equal to 2 times 2 plus 2W plus 2W. So go ahead and solve. 4 plus 4W plus 2W. 30 is equal to 6W, and W is equal to 5. So my width is going to be 5 inches. My length, I'm going to plug in the 5 into my length equation, and I'll end up with 12 inches. Okay. That one's not too terrible. Questions at all? All right, moving on to example number 7. Number 7 has a lot of different percentages in it, but we're going to pick it apart so it's a little bit easier for us to kind of understand. To conduct a scientific experiment, students need to mix 90 milliliters of a 3% acid solution. They have a 1% and a 10% solution available. How many milliliters of the 1% solution and the 10% solution should be combined to produce 90 milliliters of a 3% solution? Wow, that does seem like quite a bit. Let's first kind of think about what we need or what they're asking us to find. Usually the key word is how many, how much. So how many milliliters of a 1, or it even says find, a 1% solution and a 10% solution. So I'm going to let X equal, I'm going to let X equal my 1% amount, or needed. And I'm going to let Y equal the 10% that's needed of my solution. Just that I need to mix in order to get that 3%. So what it tells us that we have 1% solution and we have a 10% solution In total, we need 90 milliliters of those. It also tells us that we have 0.01 of the 1% diluted plus 0.1 of the 10%. That'll give us 0.03% of the 90. Or if we simplify, 0.01x plus 0.1y equals 2.7. All I did is I took this equation and I simplified it here. So now we can use either substitution or elimination in order to solve. I think I'm going to use substitution just to show substitution, but you can also use elimination. It's up to you. I'm going to make this top equation here. I'm going to make it y is equal to negative x plus 90. And I'm going to plug this in for where I see my y in my second equation. So I'll end up with 0.01x plus 0.1 times negative x plus 90 equals 2.7. Again, you can use elimination or you could use a different way to solve. This is the way that I'm going to use here. So 0.01x minus 0.1x plus 9 equals 2.7. When I combine 0.01x and 0.1x subtracted, I end up with negative 0.09x. And then I'm going to subtract my 9 over, and I'll get negative 6.3. Divide those, and because of the way that the decimal moves, I'll end up with 70. So I'll need 70, milliliters of the 1% solution. And if there's 90 total milliliters, I'll need 20 milliliters of the 10% solution to make my 3% mix. The 20, so I used this equation. Let me circle it in orange. I used this equation, and then it was just 90 minus 70. Yes. 2.7. When I multiplied, here, let me circle that in orange too. Over here on the side, 0.03 times 90. That's 3% of 90, so it should be 2.7. All right. We have not a whole lot of time left in class. I'm going to stop here. I have example number 8, and we will pick that up tomorrow, and I will try and make a video on it.